So you're a 17-year-old and you caught the bug.
Mm-hmm.
So then what happened? I mean, did you go to... Now, if I remember right, Church of Christ, their training schools are really Bible schools.
Exactly.
Is that where you headed then at that point? Or?
Well, it's funny you ask, because I was pretty adamant about not going to a minister training school. Because churches of Christ are autonomously governed, there's not an overseeing body. Local congregations pretty much determine who they hire as their minister, who they appoint as their elders or shepherds, pastors, and their deacons. So I could have done a home-based study and probably worked for a small congregation. I thought, well, that's what I'll do. I'll study my Bible at home, and then I'll work for a small church on the outskirts of Fayetteville somewhere, and I'll have my cattle, and I'll just kind of do my own thing. Well, there was a girl in our congregation that was several years older than me, and she had came back from a program called AIM, which is an acronym for Adventures in Missions. And I asked about it. I said, well, what's this AIM thing? And they said, well, it's a 2-year program where you go to a Bible training institute for 8 months, and you get some training there, and then you go to a mission field, either foreign or domestic, for 18 months to 2 years. And I said, hey, that sounds great. Let's do it. So my youth minister, who cared very much about me, and still does, I believe, sent me to all these churches and said, you gotta go raise money, you know. And I was like, well, I don't know what to do. He said, just go tell them about what your plan is. So I went and told all these churches about moving to West Texas. You know, I'm 17, I'm not graduated high school yet. They're like, you want to leave home and go somewhere you've never been for 8 months and then go to a country you've never been to? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. So moved to Lubbock, and I remember the drive out to Lubbock. I got south of Amarillo, and I'm between Amarillo and Lubbock, and I'm thinking to myself, and the topography between Amarillo and Lubbock is about like this table. There's really no topography. And I came from an area that's kind of like the area around here. It's real hilly, lots of trees, real beautiful. I remember thinking to myself, you know, I'm listening to my Tom Petty, and I've got my Dr. Pepper, and I'm going, what am I doing? Now, why did I come out to this desert? And so I got there, and I went through 8 months of Bible training, and I received at that time my first formal introduction to Catholicism. And it wasn't anything that contradicted what I'd already believed. It just furthered my distrust of and...
You got that from the school?
Yes, yeah. They actually had a course whenever I was there in the program called Catholicism.
Well, it makes sense because usually the mission fields are in places that at one time were primarily Catholic missions. At one time, right?
Well, and it just so happened that after I'd received this class, you're taught in this program and in a lot of Church of Christ schools, and not in all of them, I will say. Even in the last 10 years, there have been a lot of growth in this area in the Churches of Christ. But at that time, we were taught a very systematic approach to salvation. You know, the 5 steps of salvation. We were also taught a very systematic approach to evangelization. And with Catholics, it was super easy because we were taught what they believe. You go tell them what they believe. You tell them why it's wrong, and then you tell them what they need to do about it. You know, it's kind of like a salesman coming to your house and say, hey, your carpet's dirty, and I just happen to have this vacuum that you need. And of course, they're going to buy it. And so spent my 8 months there, and then I moved to Ecuador, South America for just shy of 2 years, and was in a town called Cuenca for about a year, and then in a town called Quito, or the capital, for about a year.